Hello, this is Danny Mack, and I'm bringing you a New Year's Day message. Because our church, Renaissance Church, is not meeting today because the Courtyard Theater is closed for the holiday. We'll be back up next Sunday on January the 8th. So I thought I would just put out a message here on Facebook that you can hang on to for New Year's Day. So let me tell you a story about something about what Jesus said. He said there's two kinds of people. There's a foolish man who builds his house upon sand. And wind, rain, and flood come, and the storm blows his house down. And then there's a wise man, builds his house upon the rock. And the wind and the rain, the flood come, and his house stays firm. And Jesus said, those who listen to my words will be like the one who built his house upon the rock. Jesus is talking about wisdom. And here's the wisdom about life. Something I can tell you that's going to happen for you in 2017. Wind, rain, and floods are going to come. Everybody gets wind, rain, and floods. Things don't go the way you want them to go most of the time. A lot of the time. Well, most of the time things are going right if you really stop and think about it. Seems like the wind, rain, and flood are what really gets our attention. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about this. The wise man was wise about what was happening. He knew some wisdom about life. He was listening to the things that Jesus said. And so there's like words of wisdom that teachers come along and give us. Jesus was coming along and he was giving people words of wisdom they could live by. And one of the things that we do at Renaissance Church is that we start out the year, every year, reading a book. A book I think has some great wisdom in it. It's called The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. And he this little book just really made a difference for me when I read it. And the idea of the book is that we're all caught up in a dream, the way we think life is, the reality that we're perceiving. You see, I think that's good to know is because it's just how we're perceiving. He said it's like we're in a dream, and then we can wake up from the dream. But in order to wake up, we have to make a new agreement, because most of our lives we've been agreeing with the dream that the world gives us, the dream that family gives us, the dream that society gives us, the dream that you had from your parents, from your tribe, from your high school, from your college, from your friends. Everybody's caught in this dream, and they're all agreeing with the dream. So if you want to change your life, you've got to stop making the agreement with your dream and make a new agreement. And he has 4 agreements that you make. And see, I think what he's talking about is the same thing that Jesus talked about. Because the foolish man is trapped in his dream. The foolish man thinks he's got it together. But when the wind, rain, and flood come, he doesn't. And so the wise man has awakened from his dream. He's awakened and he understands some things. He makes a new kind of agreement. And so I want to share with you the 4 agreements that Don Miguel Ruiz makes in his book. And so the first agreement is to be impeccable with your words. Be impeccable with your words. Speak with integrity, he says. What you want to do is you only want to say what you mean. And oftentimes we make negative statements about ourselves, about other people that we don't really mean. It's always important to be speaking impeccably about who you are and what you're about, what you want in life. And to speak impeccably about others. Like somebody would say, like, what do you think about a certain politician? Well, if I'm going to speak impeccably, I'm going to have to say, I don't really know. I've never met them. I don't know what they're like. If I met them, I might like them. There's policies I agree or disagree with that I have some questions about, but about the person, I've really never ever met them, so I don't know. See, that's speaking impeccably with your words. Then avoid using words to Speak against yourself, speak against other people, what you say, saying that things are always going wrong, things are bad is going to happen to me, I can't ever make this change. Begin changing how you speak. A wise man knows when rain and flood comes, but he also knows that there's going to be a day when the flood subsides, the rain stops, and everything's going to be good again. Speak impeccably with your word. The second thing is don't take anything personally. Now this is great wisdom here, because other people are just caught in their dream. That's what their thoughts. And whatever they're thinking about you, you're not in control of. And whatever they may be saying, that's just their perception of you. That's just their perception of life. So you don't have to take it personally what they're saying. They don't know you. If you think about it, like if somebody says you have ugly green hair and you know you don't have ugly green hair, well, then it doesn't bother you that they said you have ugly green hair. But if you think your hair is ugly and you think your hair is green, when that person says that, it offends you. So don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say is just a projection of their own reality. They're caught in the trap of their own dream. And then when you're immune to the opinion of other people, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Because really, think about how much suffering you and I do at the hands of what other people think. I think we could have a different kind of 2017 if we begin to not take things so personal. Then the third thing is don't make assumptions. Don't assume that you know what other people are thinking. Because here's one thing I know for sure is that you don't know what other people are thinking. So here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to make assumptions. I want you to communicate clearly with other people so that there's no misunderstanding. Just say exactly what you mean. Don't make assumptions about them. And with this one agreement, you can totally transform your life. Just don't assume that you know what other people believe and what they think, what they're doing, and what they're about. Just think about how many times you have imagined what somebody else is doing when you don't have a clue about what they're doing. Or you've imagined what they're thinking and you don't know what they're thinking. And then fourthly, always do your best. Now, I really like what he says about this, because this is real wisdom, because your best is not always the same. If you're sick or you're under some kind of stress, your best is not going to be the same that day as a day that you're really feeling well. And so just try to do your best for where you are at the time you're at. If you're extremely tired, you're not going to be as best as when you are feeling great and you're rested and everything's going good. I like what I heard someone say one time. Don't doubt in the dark what God has shown you in the light. So sometimes when you're having wind, rain, and flood come your way, don't make assumptions, don't make decisions during the times of wind, rain, and flood, because it's during that time you might be doing your best, but you could be doing it a little better if you wait till the wind, rain, and flood subside. I think that's what a wise man would do. And under any circumstance, no matter what's happening, simply do your best and avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Because you see, usually our harshest critic is ourselves. So, there's some great wisdom here in the 4 agreements. First, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And I think what will happen is in 2017, you'll be like a wise man builds his house upon the rock. And when the wind, rain, and flood come, your house is going to stand firm. Thanks.